Hi, I'm natekokernot. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to invite you to join me in a journey in the year 2026. I have decided that I am going to facilitate a group that takes us through the workbook for A Course in Miracles. So what is the workbook for A Course in Miracles for? Let me just be really clear that the text of A Course in Miracles is pretty much an intellectual experience. There's just a whole lot of very profound concepts and ideas that are designed to show us that the world is actually very different than we thought it was, that it really is coming out of our conscious awareness rather than that we are consciously aware of it. And believing such a thing takes a lot of changes in your beliefs. The workbook itself is basically designed on a system of learning called the zone of proximal development, in which you need to build slowly, block by block, little pieces of information, integrate them fully by reintroducing them in lessons that follow the one in which it was introduced, and then add more ideas and concepts and kind of weave those into the whole. And this is to basically prevent the phenomenon known as cognitive dissonance, which is that when some information comes in that contradicts everything that is in our current belief system, it's going to be rejected by the mind simply because it creates so much dissonance in the mind. And so the workbook is designed in a way to correct for that. And so what most course teachers say is that if you really want the felt experience of healing, you have to do the workbook. The text isn't going to cut it. The workbook is the meat and potatoes of the Course in Miracles. Now, the role that I intend to take on in this group is to be sort of the policeman of interpretation. It's said in the Course that the ego has a use for everything that the Holy Spirit gives us, and the same works in reverse, by the way. But studying the workbook alone, the ego can send us off in the wrong direction. And so I intend to be sort of the policeman who has read the Course 12 times and knows, has studied the Course very carefully and feels certain that he understands the correct interpretation of the words. So the workbook is to change the intellectual understanding of these ideas into an actual felt experience of knowledge. And the short word for that would just be a deep, deep faith that this is true. Now, in my book, the way that I see the world, the only way that we can know something to be true is if it actually is true. And all of the wobbliness that we feel in our beliefs, all of the doubt that we feel in certain beliefs, are because we can't know them for certain because they're not true. So the workbook for A Course in Miracles is teaching us what is true in a very, very planned out, carefully designed fashion. The first half of the workbook is the undoing of all the beliefs that you've been taught by this world. And that's the first 220 lessons. So almost 2/3 of the book is devoted to unlearning what isn't true. And then the last 140 or so lessons are there to reconstruct the actual truth for us all. I'm going to read the first and third paragraph now of the introduction to the workbook. A theoretical foundation such as the text is necessary as a background to make the exercises in this workbook meaningful. Yet it is the exercises that will make the goal of the course possible. An untrained mind can accomplish nothing. It is the purpose of these exercises to train the mind to think along the lines the course sets forth. The purpose of the workbook is to train the mind in a systematic way to a different perception of everything in the world. The workbook is divided into two sections, the first dealing with the undoing of the way you see now, and the second with the restoration of sight. So the purpose of the workbook is really to change your mind very gradually from believing what the world has taught you to what's actually true. And so it's going to introduce a lot of really shocking concepts and ideas along the way. And the last two paragraphs of the workbook are, in my opinion, probably the most important, most significant two passages or two paragraphs in the entire 2,000 pages. I'll read them now. Some of the ideas you will find difficult to believe, and others will seem quite startling. It does not matter. You are merely asked to apply them as you are directed to do. You are not asked to judge them or even to believe them. You are merely asked to use them. It is their use that will give them meaning to you and show you they are true. Remember only this: you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept them, and you need not welcome them. Some of them you may actively resist. None of this will matter or decrease their efficacy. But allow yourself to make no exceptions in applying the ideas the exercises contain. Whatever your reactions to the ideas may be, use them. Nothing more than this is required. So the way that I'm envisioning it is that every morning at 7 o'clock Eastern Time in the United States, I will be on Zoom, and anybody who's signed up for the thing will have access to that Zoom. And we'll probably meet for about half an hour each morning. We'll read the textbook, or we'll read the workbook lesson for that day, and then have maybe 15-20 minutes at most to kind of discuss the lesson and help ourselves integrate the lesson together. So I see it as a collaboration. I don't see myself as the leader necessarily. I think my principal role is just to correct for misinterpretations. But I really want us all to be learning from one another. We are all the Christ, and we all are teachers as well as students. So I do not intend to minimize the kind of commitment that I'm asking of you. It's 365 days. In no way am I expecting perfect attendance in my little group lessons in the morning, but I am going to be putting the videos on YouTube here in a password protected space so that the participants can watch the videos later in the day. What's important though really is that when you do the lessons each day, that you do it as close to as instructed as possible. And you'll see in the lessons that he does give very detailed, precise instructions as to how to apply these concepts to your daily life and your daily experiences. Having been practicing therapy for about 6 years now, I have to say A Course in Miracles is the only real healing modality that I can stand behind fully. I mean, I can pretty much guarantee that if you do the workbook lessons as instructed, you are going to feel a lot less anxiety, a lot less anger. You're going to start to see the Christ in everyone and yourself. And that's what's really important. So I do recommend that you take your time thinking about it before you sign up for this. It is kind of a huge undertaking, and I understand that. If you are interested and you want to contact me about it, I recommend using my website, miraclereadiness.com. There is a contact us place on the website that you can actually contact me by email, and I will answer any questions or attend to any concerns that you might have before starting in January 1st. So I hope that you all will join me there, and I hope that you all have wonderful days full of blessings and miracles. Take care.